Welcome back, everyone, in War Eagle. My name is Eddie Orantes, and I'm the Director of Business Operations for the Office of Alumni Affairs at Auburn University. And for the next 30 minutes, your host of 1856, the Auburn Alumni Association Speaker Series. Thank you for allowing us into your home. As always, we have a blast. To see all the shows, you can go to aub.ie/1856 series. We want to keep this fast moving, so all our guests will talk or present or do whatever they do for no more than 18 minutes and 56 seconds. But we want to hear from you. So please ask questions, interact, leaving comments on our Facebook page, and we'll do our best to answer them in the half hour that we have together. Today, we get to spend 18 minutes and 56 seconds with Asim Ali, Executive Director of the Biggio Center for the Enhancement of Teaching and Learning, as he talks to us about how Auburn is leading the way in online learning, what the fall holds for teaching at Auburn, and how they handle the transition from when COVID-19 hit. So, Asim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Eddie. It's really great to be here.
I think it's exciting to have you here. Not only are you a colleague, but you're also a friend. And so let me start first by congratulating you on receiving your PhD, as well as earning that position as the executive director. So Dr. Ali is the way that I should address you, right?
Well, that's very kind of you to say. You know, growing up, my dad was always the Dr. Ali. And so he just retired after a 30-year career at Tuskegee University. That's the reason we moved to Auburn actually 30 years ago. But you should call me Asim, because that's what I feel most comfortable with. Thank you.
Fair enough. Awesome. I know that you have family looking and friends. So to the Facebook audience that's looking, I just want you to have an opportunity to give a shout out to them because I know it's exciting to see you talking to us today.
Well, that's very kind of you. You know, I'm just blessed with just a wonderful family, and I've got my wife and children at home, and my parents in Auburn, my siblings, as well as my father-in-law and brother-in-law. I know they messaged me earlier. They're staying up and watching in Pakistan. And so I just want to say hello to the family around the world, and as well as friends, and just may we all have blessings of good family and friends in our lives.
That's great. Let's stay on point with that. I wanted to ask, and I do this with all of our guests, I want to know the true you, what motivates you and what allows you to do what you do. And I know values and family mean a lot, as well as the Auburn family. So tell us a little about your experience, your professionalism, and why you pursued what you do, and currently what Biggio is doing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that opportunity. I grew up in Auburn. I have 3 degrees from Auburn. I started as I remember attending summer camps on campus, as well as football games, but then, started my freshman year about 20 years ago, got my degree in software engineering from Auburn, started working at the university in an IT capacity, and then got my master's in the College of Business, and just recently wrapped up my PhD in the College of Education. And all of that, none of that is possible without the support of family and friends, and just, knowing that that's really the motivation, is being able to know that hard work motivates others to also recognize and hopefully work hard. Just straight out of the creed, that's such a critical part of what Auburn is about. This position has been really interesting in the sense that I really see it as, when we talk about the Auburn experience, what is it that makes Auburn, the academic side of that experience, truly unique and special? And I really see this position as something where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, in terms of how well we deliver on that promise of the Auburn experience. Oftentimes it requires the extra attention to how we handle and that support faculty, and how we handle situations that come up, such as coronavirus, and how we respond to that.
Well, having said that, so March hits, COVID-19, it's a factor. We have to address it. What does the university, through your programming, do to prepare us and students, faculty and students, for this? I would love for you to highlight a couple of things. If you don't mind, take us through some of the work that students and faculty are doing. Maybe talk to us about the state of online learning and some of the programming like Auburn First. If you don't mind, I think you've got a presentation that you can share with us. I would love to hear more about those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started this job on January 1st, and the first time we had a meeting about, responding to something that's going on was towards the end of February, and then March 5th. I got to tell you, hats off to my team. The Biggio Center is made up of teams across 5 different units. from testing services, Auburn Online. We've got a education development area, Biggio Technology, which supports the Canvas learning management system, as well as several other learning technologies across campus. We've got a team of folks that support, the EASL, or the Engaged Active Learning student spaces across campus. They do a tremendous amount of work, and honestly, ever since March 5th, they've just been on. They've been doing their regular job in terms of supporting faculty and supporting students, but then also just adapting and evolving the position continually, just to make sure that the evolving needs of what faculty and students need are continually met. So just, the hard work that they're doing is just amazing. The team is made up of full-time people. We have excellent relationships. Something that I really enjoy is that we have a great relationship with a lot of academic programs across campus. So we hire students from graphic design, from industrial design, and several other programs. We have students in education who work with us as graduate assistants, and having their unique perspective and experiences in part of our process has been invaluable to really make sure that we're meeting the needs broadly. And so one of the key things for us was just recognizing that this is, nobody knew how long this was going to last.
Right.
And so this started in the middle of spring break, is when we said, we've really got to make sure that faculty are ready to go on day one. And so we did a Zoom room, which was basically a live drop-in, where faculty could come in and get their questions answered as they were thinking through how they're going to adapt their course. The incredible work that faculty did. Auburn didn't give ourselves a day off, so to speak. Several other universities said, well, we'll just cut some learning days. We're just going to cut some. We're going to maybe extend spring break by a week and things like that. And that's really, that's unfair to students who are trying to make progress towards their degree. And so for us to say, we're going to take on the challenge of pivoting. We have 2,000 instructors and faculty teaching about 5,000 courses in the spring. And basically, because of their hard work, we were able to maintain continuity in the most critical function at a university, which is teaching and learning.
That's amazing. If you do have some that you're going to show us, if you'll take us to those sites so that we can take a look at some of that work. As you take us there, I do want to give a quick shout out. Michael Freeman says, War Eagle. Alexandra Maffett says, great work, awesome. Alice Buchanan says, so proud of all your work, awesome. I mean, you got a lot of people that are just loving you right now. This is
great. That's very kind of them. I've been blessed of just growing up in Auburn and having a lot of good friends and family in Auburn and the surrounding areas, and that's really what it makes it all worthwhile at the end of the day. Eddie, with young children, sometimes we feel like, are we doing right by them in terms of providing for them, and as well as meeting our responsibilities. And so hopefully our hard work motivates them, and they find it in their hearts to forgive us for any of the hidden costs of just having to be this on and working. I wanted to share with you some examples of what our teams are working on. When we think of online courses, or when we think of pivoting to remote instruction, we tend to think of narrated PowerPoints, or just Zoom sessions like we're doing right now. But Auburn has actually been on the cutting edge of online course development for quite a while. This is an example straight out of a biology course that we have online. The classic case of being able to memorize the bones. You used to just look at a picture in a textbook and have to create your own little flashcards. But because of the talented programming teams that we have, we're actually able to build drag and drop kinds of experiences for students. And I know there's probably some alumni from our sciences programs that are cringing at me getting this wrong, but students are able to practice, and we know practice is what improves learning. And so building these experiences for students to be able to practice their learning is really what we've been focused on. How do we build that engagement? Even when it comes to videos, it's not just a video of a faculty member talking head or talking into a camera. We actually
a debit to inventory
an incredible recording studio with what we call a learning glass, essentially where students where faculty or anybody who's recording can write on a piece of glass, and we can overlay different inputs.
Depending on the inventory system in use.
This is an example
and then we will
our business administration course. I'm actually going to see if I can mute it so you can watch the video. But essentially what the instructor is doing here, Dr. Loras, is able to write exactly what the example is and pull from SAP what she's trying to demonstrate to the students. So they're seeing, here she's able to maintain instructor presence. They're able to engage and follow along on their own computer screens as they do the task or the assignment.
Wow.
Sometimes we get a little creative with it. We've got, Dr. Siebenhaner Lamar over in biology program, wanted to do an example of a genetics course. And so as he goes through
time during an exam, and believe it or not, you tend to make more errors this way.
So here he's trying to encourage students to use a mathematical approach to solving a genetics problem. And then so we, inserted a foil of of an animated character.
Answer?
Hi, D. Ladies and gentlemen, meet D. He helps me try and explain things sometimes. More often than not, he just annoys me.
Ha! You're a riot. Are you seriously telling these students to do math to solve a genetics problem? I'm glad I got here in time. Students hate math, and they can just draw a picture to answer any of these inheritance questions.
But D.
So in this scenario, what they do is they actually go through and they solve the problem, in each of their different ways. And here the instructor is able to demonstrate how solving the problem using a mathematical method is more efficient. And, we kind of have fun with it, so to speak, and maintain the interest from the students. So these are just a few examples, and I can share some more as we go along.
That's wonderful. Honestly, not having spent time with you, I would not know that that's available. And I know that those who are looking at Facebook now for the first time are also having that same impression that I am, which is, wow, I didn't know that was out there. So it's great.
Yeah. We started a new unit about 6 years. I had the pleasure of founding a new unit with the support of the leadership at Auburn called Auburn Online. I mean, just truly hats off to the provost office for supporting a truly innovative learning on that. And just saying, let's see how we can imagine online learning being different, letting us hire a team of creative people, software developers, as well as, just graphic designers, instructional designers, to really focus on how do we support faculty in taking their vision of what engaged learning is and bringing it to the audience in a way that they can truly feel like that they're getting the learning experience that we want them to have.
Can you tell us a little bit about the 4 ways to learn? Share a little bit about the online versus face-to-face.
Yeah, so this fall, I think is what you're referring to. So this fall, Auburn University is going to use 4 modalities, and faculty will decide which works best for the learning objectives that they have in their course and other situational factors to consider. And then students will have an opportunity after August 1st to actually go in and look at how their courses are being taught, each section, and select based on if they want to modify their schedule based on that. So so faculty can pick from, teaching face-to-face courses with proper physical distancing as well as masks. And so there are some things that just have to be hands-on. We recognize that. And if students are on campus, they have an opportunity to engage with that. And sometimes faculty feel like the best way for them to deliver the learning, whether it's a lab or it could be, a not lab, it doesn't have to be just hands-on types of experiences, is in that face-to-face environment. And so can we create that physical environment in the best way possible and allow for that face-to-face to happen? So several faculty are choosing that option. We also have online courses like the one that I shared in terms of being able to engage with the material within Canvas, which is our learning management system, having live exchanges like we're having within Zoom, and being able to build blended courses. Blended courses are where faculty are thoughtful about which learning objectives they think would work best in a face-to-face environment and which ones can be done in an online environment. So then the course will meet sometimes online and it'll meet sometimes face-to-face. It allows us to, again, provide the optimal learning experience from that. The method, one of the modalities that's really getting a lot of steam also around the country, and for us as well, is what's called HiFlex. It's a combination of hybrid and flexible. And so in that scenario, the course is taught face-to-face as well as synchronous or asynchronously online. And students can opt how they want to attend based on various situational factors that they may want to consider week to week or day to day. And that allows us to deliver, again, talking about that Auburn experience, allow students to experience Auburn in the best way possible for them. So those are the different modalities that we're looking at. We've been working with faculty. Faculty typically are not compensated over the summer. And so we've been engaged with hundreds and hundreds of Auburn faculty who are putting in the hours without compensation, quite frankly, to think about their courses, how they want to teach them, and what they're going to do differently from the emergency response we had in the spring to a more thoughtful response in the summer as well as into the fall. And that's we're really excited about what we're seeing with faculty, what they're sharing in terms of their ideas and for some of the new things that they're looking at for being thoughtful again about that student experience.
I think it's amazing the care that is going into ensuring both the experience being one that's transformative for the student, but at the same time maintaining the safety and all the logistic resources that faculty needs to be able to provide that experience. Can you share with us a little bit about equity and access, as well as some of the programs that you currently have that you're supporting?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do so, Eddie. When we talk about learning, it tends to, especially when we shifted to the remote instruction on online instruction, there was this question of equity and access. And so one of the key ways is, if you think about, oftentimes people ask, is online learning as good? And I can always say yes, depending on which courses you're comparing. But really the question is more about access. Is online learning better than no learning at all? And the answer to that is unequivocally yes. And so, if we were faced with the situation of what we had in March and into the spring semester without the ability to deliver remote instruction as we did, then that would have had a lot more economic ramifications in terms of students not being able to complete their degrees or other, who knows what else, right? In terms of unknown opportunities. So really it's such a tremendous privilege to be able to support that type of learning to continue. So we are in a state where access to internet, broadband internet, is not as readily available as it could be or it should be. We also have, students who are economically disadvantaged in terms of being able to have access to technology. Here's another example where really the Auburn administration stepped up. I was able to partner with the University Bookstore. Real shout out to them as well. They just really stepped up, Rusty and Katie and Tom and Matt and that whole team. What they were able to do was basically take some funds that we had identified, match that up with their expertise in the supply chain, and literally buy laptops and Verizon MiFi devices and webcams and mail them out to students as loaners so that they could continue learning. We supported hundreds of students, spent tens of thousands of dollars on that. And we were fairly unique as a university around the country, in my experience, talking with my peers across the university, across other universities. We were uniquely positioned to be able to do that by leveraging the expertise that we had across campus. Heard from many students who are like, being able to continue their courses because of a simple device like a MiFi device that really allowed them to better connect with the learning. On one hand, it's gratifying to know that we're able to play a role in providing that, and on the other hand, it's kind of a little scary to know that continuing learning is really dependent on something as simple as a $100 device sometimes, and so being able to meet those needs is really hopefully a good outcome for us as a result of one of the positives of going through this experience.
I'm sure that it is. Having that access, as you said, allows those opportunities, and that's really what we're trying to create, and that's what you're creating, which is awesome. I know that as far as opportunities, there's also programming like Auburn First. Can you tell us a little bit about that Auburn First program?
Absolutely. So Auburn First is the Auburn University's dual enrollment program, and it's discounted courses that are credit towards a degree. Auburn First is one of the most exciting programs that I've ever been involved with in my 15 years at Auburn. It is taking our learning and making it available to high school students across the state. You know, the parents out there, as they're contemplating, should I have my student go through face-to-face classes at the local high school, or should I let them do online learning? You know, Auburn First is a completely available option because we have courses like English and math and science that are thoughtfully designed. I got to show you some of these other examples.
Okay.
Eddie. So we've got this Intro to Theater course, which is you know, part of the Auburn First program. You know, we have the privilege at Auburn University of just going down the street to Telfair P Theater. But what we did was we actually relied on our Auburn Online team, with the talented team that we have, to build a virtual theater environment that students across the state can engage with, so they can go into and see what a black box theater looks like and engage with the learning environment in that space. So they can see, oh, at the top of a black box theater, there's a tension grid, and see what that looks like, and see what that experience is. Just truly immersive learning. This is where online learning is headed, and Auburn is at the forefront of that. So when we say Auburn First courses, you know, students are engaging in truly immersive learning experiences. Another example I'll share with you is a virtual exhibit hall. So we have a biology instructor who likes to do an academic poster. And, you know, academic posters are not just about doing the poster, it's also about experiencing what it's like to present that poster. So we, you know, again, the talented team, you know, led by Chandra Bowers, Ali Satari, and that team, who basically built out, you know, these virtual spaces where students can present a virtual poster. And then when you click on it, you can see what the poster is like, and then it can be
welcome to the virtual exhibit
narration, and then it also has a link that goes straight into a Zoom presentation where faculty or the students can get comfortable presenting their idea or their thought. This is part of our biology course, as well as some other courses that we're using. You know, if we think about having to learn remotely, you know, when it comes to lab safety, for example, here's an example of being able to do an assessment that is entirely virtual. So we did 360-degree images of an actual lab on campus. And if we, you know, zoom in terms of seeing what the lab space looks like, then we can have questions related to the lab space, which the students complete in the learning management system. So they're able to make the visual reference directly with the learning environment. This is really what quality is in terms of learning. This is where we're headed. That's not just for online courses. In fact, my favorite part of working with faculty is, you know, when they first start working with us, just allowing them to tap into that creativity that they have, and tap into the creativity and talent that our team has, and they imagine what courses really can be like. And then they when they see the final results, just the excitement you see from them about the learning aspect of it all. And, you know, faculty opt to use that in their face-to-face courses, as well as, you know, like we said, it increases practice opportunities for students. So it just enhances learning overall at Auburn. That's really exciting for us.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. There's a couple of questions that came up
Sure.
while you were speaking that I want to be able to share with you. From Laura Charlton, she says, are all instructors being required to prepare for online classes?
So what how Auburn is approaching is that we really want faculty to first think about what their learning objectives are, and how they want to, given the different situational factors, how do they want to teach that content in the fall from one of those 4 modalities. But, you know, in terms of readiness, we are asking faculty to have what we're calling a syllabus B ready, which would be, here's what would happen in case, you know, something necessitates having to go remote or online again. And so faculty are being thoughtful about that approach, certainly.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Listen, there's more people giving you some shout out, and I think it's appropriate. Wade Preston says, Asim, you are such an asset to the Auburn family. Keep up the great work. And because I know you, Asim, I also know that you're a huge advocate for the team that you have around you. You're a huge advocate for growth that doesn't just, it's not a selfish growth as much as it's a collective growth. And so for that, I just want to say thank you. I know that the work that you're putting out there is resulting in innovation. It's resulting in the proper resources that students need. It's also allowing the university to stay ahead of the current challenges that we're seeing. So for all that, I think they chose the right man for the job. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. The university is proud of what you've accomplished, and the association thanks you for spending this 18 minutes and 56 seconds with us. What I want to do at this moment, Asim, before we say goodbye, is to let all of our viewers know that they can join us next week, July 16th at 11:30, when we will have Ada Ruth Huntley, Student Government Association President at Auburn University and current Auburn University and student, with us. Asim, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this time. At this time, I want to say stay safe and War Eagle.
War Eagle.